Fourth grade, today we are going to be making Play-Doh. This is an assignment to go along with our measurement unit. The actual making of Play-Doh is not required. Ms. Nealy is going to walk you through a video of how to do it, but again, you do not have to make the Play-Doh. There is a slide at the end of our slideshow for you to answer some conversion questions, but if you are going to make the Play-Doh, make sure you have your parents' permission and they are supervising you, which means they're watching you at all times. So you have a list of ingredients on your Google Slides, but what you're going to need is 4 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of salt, 2 tablespoons of oil. You can use baby oil, you can use vegetable oil, you can use canola oil, whatever kind of oil that you have, food coloring, and water. I have 5 mixing bowls, so 4 mixing bowls for the actual Play-Doh and 1 big mixing bowl for my dry ingredients. Over here I have a bowl of water, and then the last thing I have is measuring cups. So you're going to need several different kinds of measuring cups, and we're going to be talking about measurement throughout this process. Alright, Dragon, so the first thing you need is 1 cup of water. So I'm measuring out a cup of water with my measuring cup, so that measuring tool holds 1 cup of water, and I need to divide this evenly among 4 bowls. So instead of just estimating and seeing how much, I want to be exact with my measurement. So 1 divided into 4 equal parts is 1/4. So I'm going to use 1/4 cup to divide my water into the 4 bowls. So I have 1/4 plus another 1/4, and then I have 3/4, and then I have 4/4. So I have 1 cup of water. Now this step is optional. You don't have to add food coloring, but if you want your Play-Doh to be a certain color, you need to add food coloring. I've heard of some people trying to add Kool-Aid packets to it. This may work. I don't know. If you try it out, let me know. But you don't have to add color to it. So I suggest if you do add color, each time you stir your food coloring, make sure you wipe off your spoon. That way you're not mixing the colors. Next thing I'm going to do is divide my 2 tablespoons into 4 parts because I have 4 bowls. So I need to know what 2 divided by 4 is. You can go ahead and pause the video and try to figure out what 2 divided by 4 is. It will be a fraction. I drew a model to solve mine, so I know 2 divided into 4 equal parts would be a half, and you'll see in my picture in a second, but I'm going to put 1/2 tablespoon of oil into each of my mixing bowls. So I have 1/2 plus 1/2, that would be a whole. 1/2 plus 1/2, that would be another whole. So I have 2 whole tablespoons of oil. Next, we're going to put those to the side and start working on our dry ingredients. You're going to need a big bowl for this. So right now I'm taking my 1 cup, my measuring cup that holds 1 cup, and I need 4 cups of flour. So I am scooping my 1 cup tool 4 times. That way I have 4 cups of flour. Next, we're moving on to salt. I need 1 cup and a half of salt. So I have a 1 cup measuring tool and then 1/4 of a cup measuring tool. Well, 1/4 is not half, but I can think of an equivalent fraction. I know that 2/4 is equivalent to a half, so I'm going to have to do 2 scoops of the 2/4. So you'll see here in a second how I do the 1 cup, and then I'm going to do 2 scoops of the 1/4 cup tool. Go ahead and give your dry ingredients a stir. Make sure the salt and flour are mixed very well. Now I'm going to take my dry ingredients and mix it with my wet ingredients. So I'm taking the flour and salt and mixing them with my oil and food coloring and water. So this can be a messy process Miss Nealy had to learn from. Make sure that you kind of cover it when you mix the ingredients together, because if you just plop it down, it'll splash back at you. So I'm measuring 1 cup of the dry ingredients in with the wet ingredients, trying to cover it. You will have a little bit of dry mix left over, but we're going to need that for when we're kneading our Play-Doh together. Now you're going to want to work with 1 bowl at a time. So of course I picked green because go Dragons. I am now mixing my wet ingredients and dry ingredients together, and this can take a long time, so you can see here that I sped up the process. Next you're going to want to get a cutting board or some type of plate to knead your Play-Doh together. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that leftover flour and salt mixture from earlier, and I am sprinkling it onto my board with Mickey's all over it. That way it doesn't stick to the board or my hands. So you're going to see that I sprinkle some of the leftover flour and salt on top of the Play-Doh as I mix it together. The more salt and flour that you add, the less sticky it's going to be, so you can see that it's kind of sticking to my hands. And the more salt and flour you sprinkle onto it, it won't do that. Once you're done, you can just store it in a Ziploc sandwich bag and it should be good to go. Last but not least, the most important part is you need to clean up your area. So make sure you take a wet rag or a Clorox wipe and just clean up the mess that you made. That's super important, and then wash your hands when you're done. Alright, I hope you guys had fun making the Play-Doh. You can keep this in your fridge up to a few weeks because of that salt. That salt's going to preserve it. I hope you have a lot of fun with this. You can roll it out, you can make fractions with it, things like that. So I hope you guys have a great day, and email me if you need anything.